make sight reading a regular part of your practice. There are many series of graded sight reading books available to help you in this. Remember too that there is a vast piano repertoire at your disposal which you can use to improve your sight reading. So go out and explore it. Also consider offering yourself as an accompanist to a friend who sings or plays an orchestral instrument, or team up with a friend of a similar standard to play duets. Do some sight reading in each of your practice sessions for a few minutes near the beginning when your concentration is at its best, taking 1 or 2 examples. When practicing sight reading, choose the tempo very carefully based on the piece as a whole. Keep your eyes on the music and look ahead, aiming to take in several bars at a glance, noticing patterns such as repeated rhythms and passages built on scales or chords. Imagine as well as you can how the music will sound before you play it, and when playing it, give rhythm priority over correct notes. Here is an example of the kind of sight reading that might be set for grade 3 and how you might practice it. The same principles will apply to whatever level you have reached. Firstly, allow yourself 30 seconds to explore the piece, based on the aspects covered earlier on exploring your exam pieces. Here are the main points to consider. The clefs are treble and bass at the beginning. The bass clef changes to treble at the end. There are 3 crotchet beats in a bar. Note the dotted quaver semiquaver pattern and dotted crotchet quaver pattern. Note the tied note and pause signs. Note the rests in the left hand. The speed is moderately slow. The piece slows down at the end. The key is D minor, since there is a B flat at the beginning. It ends with a D minor chord, and the leading note C sharp is raised. Note how the C sharp is also carried through the bar. The only expression mark indicates that the music is moderately soft. Note the staccato in the 3rd bar. Both hands start with the thumb and 3rd finger. Although 30 seconds does not seem long, if it is used well, you can cover a great deal about your piece. You will usually be given this amount of time to explore your sight reading in the exam. As a further aid to understanding the rhythm before playing, you may now find it useful to clap or tap the rhythm of the piece throughout, counting aloud. Count 1 complete bar first. Next, play through the piece, counting aloud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and. Make a mental note of any mistakes you have noticed without correcting them, and then play the piece again, focusing on what could be improved the second time. Do this only once, as after that you'll not be sight reading. What you focus on this time will depend on how you played it the first time. For example, some of the rhythms may have been misread or the key signature ignored, or you may have forgotten to slow down at the end. This time, count in your head. Assess your second performance and tick the example as having been done. If there are still many slips the second time, then consider whether it would have been wise to play it more slowly, or do an easier grade book of examples first. Work through a book of sight reading this way, and when you get to the end of it, go back and do the book again. This time, look at each example for 30 seconds and then play it through once, counting in your head. you may become aware of how much you've learnt in the meantime.